Good morning, TFR.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworx because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworx with Josh, Walt and Zack, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworx on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Real Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to The Ironworx with Zack, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworx and become an Iron Scout.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Wakey, wakey.
Wakey, wakey. TGIF, everybody. Welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Oh, my goodness. Is it ever a Friday morning?
Well, there was one?
Well, good morning, sir. Oh, yes. Definitely a Friday.
Yeah. Oh, my coffee is sitting on the counter in the kitchen. That is now going to be my day, apparently. Oh, great. All right. Well, hi.
Okay, so you can run and grab it. I'll say hello to the folks in chat.
Well, I'm still not logged in, and I'll work on that as well. So you say hey, and I'll do my stuff.
All righty. I did see Daz rolling in first thing this morning. Good to see you. Carrie Woolley as well. Good morning, Ian. I'm the. Good to see you there as well. Chris, BPS Big Pine Sailing. Up in the house. Good to see you all, folks. Robert Page, glad to see you, sir. And that's it. That's everybody. So hopefully Walt made it back in time. No, I'm just joking. It's definitely been a week. Ugh. Yeah, I got nothing. It's been an unusual week for sure.
To say the least. To say the least.
It's one of those things. My wife Dixie was diagnosed at a very young age with like migraines, real bad headaches that just wouldn't go away. And as part of the treatment, they had prescribed her some like antidepressants to help with the migraines. And this was back when she was like 14 years old, really young. And she'd been on them ever since. It's one of those things that she's really wanted to get off of them, but always a little nervous about, you know, how it's going to affect her, how it's going to affect us, how it's going to everything else. Did I say Liz the Iron Maiden? I don't know. If I did not say Liz the Iron Maiden, then shame on me. Good morning, Liz. I see you there. Did a Shogi as well. See you there. But, so she's been in the process of trying to wean herself off of these antidepressants that she's been on for the last 30 years or whatever. So this last week is when she'd finally made it down to zero and has basically been off of them. So yeah, like I said, it's been an interesting week. But I got the new car, so that's always nice.
Yeah. Hi, I'm back, by the way. I heard a lot of that. Most of it, actually. All of it, actually. I have a little mobile earbud in. So, yeah. Well, much love and hugs out to Dixie because, man, number one, kudos because that's a tough one. And then, yeah, I've had to go through titration with my mother and myself off of those things back. Well, actually, I stupidly didn't know any better back when I did it because I was just tired of that feeling, so I just quit and then barely made it through that. But anyway, yeah, I don't envy you. That's this last week on top of the already emotional burden that we all have been dealing with Bob being gone. So yeah, at some point I will get logged in. I know.
I never took any pictures of my car. I don't have any that I could just share. The best I can do is try to look one up.
Yeah, even when I had a brand new like spot bang like gold car, I didn't take a picture of it because it just happened to be the car we bought. That's what it was. It wasn't like I've never been the car guy. So man, when I got my guitar, I got some pictures of that.
All right. I think I did find one. And mine's the Nightfall edition, so it's going to be a little bit harder because all the other trim packages are the chrome stuff. Mine's, instead of the chrome, it's got all the black emblems and black badges and stuff, black wheels.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the one.
I am there now trying to. Well, I'm so glad you have made it to the live chat there, Dylan. Welcome. Glad to hear that you've been here hanging out with us for that long. So you should understand the offness of today. It's 2:04, so you are out there on the left coast, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I had to do the math for a moment. It gets confusing with Zack on one coast and my family on the other, and lots of interactions, trying to play games together and stuff. Kind of how we hang out now. So, but yeah, definitely glad to have you here live, as the rest of you guys who made it. But I know not everyone has a chance to chime in during the live show, and so it's good to have you doing that. A lot of people hear these shows and don't even know that's a thing you can do, I'm told.
Really?
I'm told that.
Quit.
That's what I'm told.
All right, so there up on the screen is a picture
on the
of
screen. Let me go to a screen.
Yeah, most people don't even know you could do that.
You can go to a screen? Wait, which screen am I going to? Obviously not that one.
No, you probably go to YouTube. It's probably
No, that's fine. I'll YouTube it. Now I got there it is. Look at that pretty red thing.
That's what it is. That's the color. That's the
like
trim.
that. That's
most
fast.
of the trim package, I guess.
It's going to attract a lot of cop attention. That's what they tell you about red cars.
I don't know
Again, they say that. They say. That's what they say.
That is what they say. Of course, for as long as I've been aware, they have also said that it causes your insurance to go up because of that reason.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Is that what's true or not?
I don't know. I'd have to price insurance on two of the same vehicle, different colors. I'd be curious, though. I think Zack had made mention of the fact that in Indiana they do the same thing. They'll likely to charge you a little more for insurance for red vehicles because they're just a little more eye-catching.
But wouldn't that deter accidents if the vehicle is being noticed?
You know, that's what Dixie said. Because I'm not
awareness
a big fan
is
of
made of the vehicle.
Red's not really my color.
Me either.
I was like not terribly interested
neither.
even in the vehicle because of the color. Like I sat in it and I started it and like, there's a lot of stuff I like about this car, but the color is not one of them. So, but after I did some more test drives, it was actually the nicest. Plus, it's got the upgraded trim package and all that stuff. And the lady who owned it put in some aftermarket seat warmers, which are always nice. But no, it's exciting to have a new set of wheels. You know what I ought to do?
Man, I guess you can do anything aftermarket, but I've just never heard of that one. Of course, I live in an area where that's rarely even an included feature, you know? because that one or two mornings where you go, oh, it's a little chilly. Let me see what this does. Oh, yeah, I have seat warmers. Or you make that pizza run, like, oh, I got a car pizza warmer. Look at me.
Look at me.
It really don't work because that one won't come on if somebody's not sitting on it in my car anyway.
So I really expected Mr. Zack to be here this morning.
I kind of did from his messaging, but, again, they are going through quite a bit over there.
Yeah.
With no regular, I'm sure, sleep being had by anyone yet. I would almost wager that's still not a thing. Between all the outpouring of care and love and calls and internet, that's just probably about to melt down at this point. I would think they've been, a little erratic in their sleep schedule. So, and we didn't have our week was off, like thrown completely to the wind. Like that also having not had our regular Wednesday really threw me off. Because when yesterday arrived, it felt like Wednesday again. It's like, hey, what time are we doing this thing? And I looked at my clock and I was like, wait, Thursday? What? Oh, that's right.
That's right. I got stood up yesterday.
That's right. They didn't love me yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of you saw what time I checked in, like 6 o'clock or whatever. I was like, oh, shoot. So I was definitely distracted myself with the new kittens and whatnot. I do have new pictures. Everyone's eyes are open. We do have one who is, I'm guessing the runt. If I remember, that was the one Haley rescued as it was having some trouble clearing its, sinus way or its airways at first. So it seems to have one eye that's not quite all the way open yet. It's open, but it's not all the way open. There's still a little corner that's still kind of pinchy. But it makes it have a cute little winky Popeye face. That might be its name. You never know. It is also the one that seems to have extra ears. Now, I know all about the Henry Flap. I've had cats my whole life. And trying to look this up, that's all you come up with. And so finally, after a bunch of digging and my sister-in-law helping out, we finally figured it's a recessive gene, mostly in gray cats, and both the mother and the father have to have that recessive gene, and it has to express just one of those rolls of the dice things, and you have a extra flap. So mud flap, that might also be her name. I'm kidding. I would never do that to a cat. But at one point, I couldn't tell if it was all 4 ears. Logically, it would be, some symmetry being a thing in the human and animal anatomy. But I couldn't tell because one ear is dark and one ear is white. And so the white ear, you can easily see the pink area where the flap happens. And I touched and kind of made sure it wasn't just my imagination. And there's definitely an extra ear flap there, lobe, ear, whatever. The other one finally yesterday, I kind of noticed it doing the same thing whenever I'm pretty sure it's a she, does a certain ear move, you can see the little flap opening up. So yeah, it could just be a long growing, overextended Henry flap, but I don't think so. I think it's one of those weird cats that has four ears.
That's pretty freaking weird.
I'll find a picture that kind of shows it. Anyway, I'll show those pictures once I get them from the phone to the interwebbies.
4 ears. Dylan Shilby says, you got to be kidding me.
Ha ha, gadoons. Get in here. Call in. We need a jokester this morning. We're definitely off our game.
I did give Zachary a ring just because I saw he was green on the list of people in Skype, but apparently...
Yeah, but he's green
like 90% of the time.
All the time. I don't understand that at all. Like, my computer is a good little machine. It runs nice. It does its thing, but I try my best not to just turn it into a room heater. And I can't imagine that Zack's is not, because he's always on Skype. He's always on Discord. He's always in the game launcher. Hell, half the time he's standing around in the lobby somewhere, just there, hanging out. So I don't know. My system, that would just turn my computer into a room heater.
No kidding. But it does, I think, sort of speak to a little bit Zack not being here this morning. It does remind me, at the very least, that I needed to let you guys know that we will be going live this afternoon for Have No Sphere, though it may just be very, very briefly. We just want to check in and catch up and see how things are going. But it's going to be a busy, busy weekend for Zack and Cammy, so we didn't want to add to stress and things like that. So we'll probably. And
I was thinking Zack would be here to give us the times and location of the memorial for Bob tomorrow there in the local area, but it was given out there on Tuesday, and I don't have it in my head because unfortunately I won't be there. Not in body anyway. I'll definitely be there in spirit. But yeah, hopefully when we have him in a bit later, when he realizes what time it is, he'll give us that lowdown. Really quick, my brain broke a bit. Leighton Stones there in chat. Did anyone catch Brother Sanchez chatting with Eric Dollard? No, I did not. Apparently, he has a bitter disposition on flat Earth. Austin Whitsitt needs to bend his ear. Interesting, because I found Eric, as most of you did, in the video about the sun being a transmitter and sitting there in his car talking to somebody on camera. And from there, I did a bit of research on him and found out, his gig. But that's about all I knew and know. So I would definitely like to see some interview. I haven't watched Brother Sanchez in so long, though. I just have no time, it seems, anymore to catch up with anyone.
Right. I see Karen B in chat letting everybody know it's going to be at Herdklotz Park there in Spartanburg. Which, of course, then reminds me that Mark Sargent and Karen did a really good tribute video to Bob, which is just another stream that I didn't have time for and missed 98% of. I tried to get in there, I really did, but freaking work kept me from being able to do it. But hopefully I'll be able to catch the replay today.
So apparently it's at 126 Beverly Road, Greenville, South Carolina, not Spartanburg, at Herdklotz Park, across from where they had Flattober Fest. What's up, Karen? Squatch, what's this? I hear a beeping in my ear already, which means something needs to be charged. Yep, let me do that. Let me pull the plug over here and plug her in. Okay, that should get me through. We shall see. Sorry, I'm trying to play catch up. There's so much good stuff here in the chat. So I am definitely catching up. Man, damn it, I saw something that made me go to a whole different... Oh, it was Liz, completely not talking about this at all. What she wrote was, I've fallen for the one with the ginger mark on her face. I know the one you're speaking of. Well, I'll get her up in a minute. I actually am, like I said, I'm kind of partial to mud clap myself. But anyway, it was the fallen part that I saw in the sentence that took me to a movie I watched yesterday. Now, I tell you guys, I don't really sit and just watch TV and movies and stuff. And I know a lot of people go, oh, yeah, me neither. And, they do because everybody kind of does. And so it's almost a fight sometimes with Shell and I that she wants me to come in there and sit and watch some stuff. And I'd much rather be in here on my computer and digging down the rabbit hole or watching some awesome Eric Dollard interview. the triviality of what I see most of the time, the banality of it, it breaks my brain. And I usually fall asleep. And so it just becomes a whole like, why do this to myself? So because of that, I usually miss most things when they come down the pike. And I'm usually playing catch up on movies and shows and stuff. And that's not just been since Flat Earth. That's been like my whole life. Like I didn't watch Breaking Bad until probably 6 years after it was like off the air and done and came out on one of the streaming services. I just watched all of Better Call Saul, as much as I love Bob Odenkirk, have for years since I found him in Mr. Show. Anyway, I do that. I catch up stuff later when I'm really bored and finally do want to just disconnect from things. And usually it involves a big emotional thing like what's happened over this last week. And so that has really sent me down a movie watching rabbit hole, which I'd normally, if you can't got it yet, I don't watch a lot of movies. Anyway, so Noah came out. Well, actually, no. First, it was the Moses movie with Christian Bale. Now, I mean, when you got Batman playing Moses,
let my people go.
You keep waiting for him just to go, yeah, God, I swear, but swear to me. Anyway, so you keep waiting for that, and it don't happen. But anyway, it was a really enjoyable movie. I was really entertained and kind of like took me down a little biblical rabbit hole. And I went, wasn't there a movie that came out a few years ago that I completely missed? And yeah, there was. So I went looking up Noah, which I had not seen, with Russell Crowe. Now, again, when you got Russell Crowe playing British Israelites, I don't understand it, but hey, you go with it. And so that movie broke my brain. Like, if anyone hasn't seen it, I don't even want to say anything, because if some chance you went, I don't need to see this Bible movie. Yeah. Go give that a little watch. It's currently streaming on one of the services we have. I doubt it's a free one. She pays for a few. But I think it's the one with the plus sign at the end. Which one's that? I saw all of them. Let me tell you which one. It may be Paramount Plus. I don't know. They're not paying me. I don't care. You can find it. I looked it up and found it. Anyway, yeah, if you haven't, yeah, The Watchers, that was something else there.
Yeah, those were crazy.
And when you think about there were giants in the earth in those days, that's an interesting take on it. Very, very interesting take on it. And having read a lot of the Enochian stuff from the Apocrypha, it actually was kind of brain-blowing. So, yeah, broke my brain. What film, Liz? It's called Noah with Russell Crowe. I know. Yes, I understand. And Emma Watson and the whole British cast. Yeah, go with it. Just go and bite that bullet and just go with it. Enjoy it as an entertaining popcorn movie, I guess. Biblical popcorn movie. Is that a thing? I don't know. Ask Charlton Heston. Anyway. It was good. I was surprised at all of it. Like all of it. Completely broken at all. Just not what I expected.
Might have to be one.
And could explain the horns on the statue. What? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I might have to go back and rewatch that one. It's been a minute. But I do remember The Watchers, and it breaking my brain a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. And this, most people go, what? Oh, yeah, I think I saw that. And you're going, did I see that so long ago? That's me playing catch up. So, yeah, I know. That was me as well, Karen. Don't say it. Don't anybody say it. We're not going to spoil it for anyone. But I didn't like that either, Karen, being chat. That really bothered me a lot. But again, that was kind of what I meant by maybe that would explain the statue with the horns upon the head of, or was that Moses? No, that was Noah. Trying to read everything and I can't catch up. You guys are breaking a lot of my brain here too. I have it typed, I know, but we're kind of down a hand and
does make it a
I'm
little
not
difficult.
able to, just kind of disconnect for a second, go into typing mode. So I didn't see Horry Sheet's latest video, Liz. Everybody thinks I'm just talking to Liz apparently in chat. I really am not. It's just those things keep, triggering me because I'm in that same area. I watched him do a sock dance in a vape shop recently and felt like he was in a pretty good spot. So I'm glad to see Horry pretty happy. I like that. I like to see that when people find their vibe.
Sock dance in a vape shop.
You gotta love. I think that was a Fish bootleg from like 91, 92.
Yeah, the Fish LP, definitely.
And I'm going so far back now that they probably forgot they typed any of this, so there's no point in me bringing any of it up. See, apropos of nothing, I read you have to drop down and just crawl around under your car. From Piney. I got you. Is that like opening the hood and just kind of staring at it and nodding your head every now and again like you really know what you're looking at? That's how I do it now. I used to know when there were carburetors and fun things like that.
Just like King of the Hill. Just pop the hood and stand there, look at it. Yep.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Yep. Are we going to have commercials, I wonder, today?
I don't think so. Mainly because I kicked the studio out because
that would be
lots of white noise again.
Yeah.
The white
I don't
noise
think
was...
they go on the air until like 6 a.m. now. I think that's what they forgot. They had a 4 a.m. show, and now they don't go on the air until 6. I think I figured it out yesterday.
Now, if this tells you anything, the white noise was so bad, it was ducking down the commercials and the Trump music. That's how loud the white noise was, that the commercials were barely coming through. So I didn't even start.
How loud was it? Wait, I'm a little late on that one. Sorry.
It was so loud, I decided to not include them at all in the show this morning. Yeah, apparently. Even I've seen Alan Holman basically make the announcement that the website was basically dead. It's not really going out doing much of anything. And for Alan Holman to announce that TFR is basically dead was a pretty bold statement.
Pretty telling. Pretty telling. Well, again, I would say if there's info or a show that you really enjoy, go grab it if you can, if you have that access. If you don't, then maybe speak to someone in our chat who does still have that access. It's always down for us in the morning, Karen, she's asking, did they go down? It's always down for us in the morning, it seems, but seems like now it's spreading. So.
Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right, I wasn't really going to join in until I saw Karen in chat, and I was wanting to join into her coffee talk, but I just couldn't join in. But I have a question for Karen about the conference and if she's going to be having a raffle of any sort, because I'd like to donate something to it, if you're going to do that.
I forgot about that. That's right. We got some of those questions Tuesday, I believe.
And I'll even say what I'm going to donate. It's only about $60 worth of stuff, but it's a board game with about 500 conspiracy trivia questions with dice and rules and everything like that I'm going to bring to Las Vegas. I'm going to put out on the table for everyone to play. And then I want to give it away to somebody. And if there's going to be a raffle, then I would prefer it to be that way rather than, picking favorites. And if there's not going to be a raffle, I might just give it away to Karen.
We will keep an eye out there on the chat, see what she's got planned. I'm busy mucking up.
I have no idea, but I'm sure we can do something, she said. So there you go.
The name of the board game, I have the expansion edition for it, which they also call the travel edition. It's just called Conspiracy Theory Trivia. That's it. And it's on Amazon.
Good deal. Sorry, I was just playing catch up in chat.
Sorry, I was playing catch up in chat too. I'm reading it all now at this point. I thought I had a second to play real catch up with Andrew here, but Nachiketa asking, how do you call in? Do we have you on Skype? Natch, if you're in Skype, you can just pop into the call. But if you're not there, I think we have you on Telegram, because we don't actually have the flat line. I mean the TFR line open now because of the audio issues. And Flatline is probably going to be about the same deal to get it going and not mess up Josh's audio right this second. So
it's hard to say how that's going to affect the audio. I can pop it open real quick just to see.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see if I have you in here. Not on Skype. If you have Skype, then we can get you there. But if I don't have you right now.
Otherwise, I suppose, I mean, the Flatline is technically
Telegram. Well, then, Flatline. Everybody knows that number, right? 304-503. I'm kidding. 304-503-3528. That's 304-503-3528. Call 304-503 flat now.
Yes, right now.
Yeah, we really need a commercial here, probably.
Probably so. That would have done us really well here in the last couple of minutes.
I'm looking at a cup full of kratom sitting here, so yeah, I definitely have lost whole tracks of everything. I just thought I was running out with the mouse. Give me a second. Somebody talk now. Somebody go.
Ooh, Nachikari says he does have Skype. So, he's going to send you a message there on Skype, Walter. So that'll be good. Maybe we'll get Notch up in here. We haven't spoken to Nachikari in a hot minute.
Yeah, it's for me on Skype, it's Walt Flat Earth Head, or you could get me by my email there. Is that how it works? Man, I don't remember how it works.
I think so. I think you can search by email.
It's Facebones777 at Gmail. That's Facebones777 at Gmail.
So no Zack this morning, huh?
No, not yet.
He may turn up.
And he may turn up. There was a text that he should know happened if he's available for that happening.
Truth.
Let me see. I've got nothing yet. This is terrible, terrible, terrible audio. I mean, video. What are we doing? Audio, radio, something. Radio. There we go. Terrible radio. All we hear is
So you guys
radio.
talked about movies and TV shows a little bit ago. And the last time we spoke, I can't remember who said it. It was Liz that said Time Bandits to watch that. So I downloaded it and I started watching it and I fell asleep. Haven't tried watching it again. But
well, what the hell? What part? What'd you get?
I got like 10 minutes in and I just fell asleep. So I'm going to check it out again, though. It didn't look bad, but.
No, it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. I do know that there's a time frame, apparently, that movie editing went total MTV style. That's not even a thing anymore, I know, but it just became quick cuts and fast commercially, like make it a good scene for the trailer, and that's all you need. There's
Guy
really
Ritchie.
not a lot of atmosphere and not a lot of something popped up. I hear it. I just don't know where it popped up. That's part of the message from Natch. Anyway, it's just some people just, hey, I do see him. All right, we have him. Give me a second. Anyway, a movie that tends to have a little more space to breathe, a little more atmosphere, for some people just doesn't work anymore. Even for me, going back to some old movies I enjoyed quite a bit, I find that it definitely can be a thing that has been programmed into us or out of us one of those ways. All right, we're going to get Natch in here. Give me 1 second.
It seems like
you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Guy Ritchie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Seems to me those were some of the first movies where those really quick cuts and short scenes and shit like that was just really sort of featured, where this sort of almost like a new style of movie direction came when Guy Ritchie came out into the scene. Don't get me wrong, I dig a lot of Guy Ritchie movies, but it is that sort of real fast editing style, fast pace, done in post that makes it was almost hard to watch at the beginning, just because I wasn't used to that type of
I agree.
style.
Guy Ritchie is pretty awesome, and yeah, Big Pine Sailing. Guy Ritchie he used to be married to Madonna. Oddly enough, he's a British.
You gotta do something to get famous. Oh, sorry.
He did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch. He's done a lot of movies.
Oh, now.
Yeah, Snatch that's a classic right there.
Snatch is a classic. Do you think there was a couple
All right,
more?
Nachiketa, I have sent an invitation to you if you
He's here.
see
He's
it.
in the call.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
shut up. Yeah.
Good morning, Nachiketa.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there you are. We hear you.
Hey, what's up?
What's happening?
What's up, Josh?
Just another day. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. And who else is in the chat other than Walt?
Andrew B is joining us as well.
Oh yeah,
That's me.
Andrew. Hey, what's up?
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning. Good to talk with you guys. It's been a minute.
It has.
It's been a minute, my friend. Good to hear your voice.
I can't chat in the chat and talk to you guys at the same time. So if anybody's messaging me or chatting with me in the chat, I can only do one thing at a time. Typical guy.
Yeah, we'll let you know. So how's it going? You went to a big festival recently, man. I remember that recently. You had that going on. What's been going on otherwise?
Not much. There was a festival at my village. They do it every other year. So in my area, I live in northern India, in a valley called Kulu Valley, and they have these like local gods. They kind of carry them around. So they have like 13 masks on them that's made out of silver, and each village have their own temples or places where they worship, and they store their gods there. So every village, every town, they have their own gods, and during festivals or special events,
Go ahead. I'm just
carry
excited
them.
about this.
They carry them. They have 4 guys, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, on this like long sticks that they carry these gods around. And they actually, if they have an event they have to go to, they have to actually walk there. They can't just drive there by car or truck or a bus or anything like that. They walk from one village to another. And this festival recently, it's still going on. So it's been almost a week, and I think they will continue on for another few more days before they
I don't mean to interrupt,
heading
but
back.
are you talking about Kumela?
I don't know for sure. What is Kumela?
It's like the largest religious gathering in the world. It happens like it's not every year. It's in India though.
I don't know the actual name of it, to be honest.
I think, Andrew, you had mentioned Kumela a little while ago, as I recall.
Yeah, it's really weird. There's millions and millions of people that show up to it, and it's the most bizarre thing you'll ever see in your life.
Oh, that happens in Puri, what you're talking about, right, Andrew? And Puri is near Bengal. This is southern eastern part of India, and they have these like large chariots where they push. There's like 2-3 of them. It's huge. It's like these wheels are like bigger than people, and a lot of people die.
I've seen that.
Yeah. A lot of people die, and they think it's like if you die during that time, you actually go to heaven. So people like don't mind dying there, being crushed by like millions of other people. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Kumela is like a spiritual, like Hindi kind of thing, where there's a bunch of people that show up with all different denominations of Hinduism, and some of the people that show up, I can't remember what they're called, but these guys that are just completely naked and cover themselves in ash and carry swords around. It's weird.
The thing you're talking about is called Rath Yatra, that I just looked up to find out, because I have seen videos about it, Nachiketa, that the huge chariots they all like work on for so long, and it's, you said people die. It's yeah, pretty nuts.
Yeah, they have a lot of like really crazy stuff going on here in India, and I've seen some crazy stuff in Nepal as well. I'm always I'm always fascinated by the stuff that they do.
I was just showing some of the crowds there in the Rath Yatra. Anyway, all right. Well, here I'm in an area where a lot of festivals still take place. It's different, I guess, here, but the origins are always based on some type of either religious thing, a harvest thing, here in the Catholic area I live in, there's a lot of Catholicism tied to some of these festivals, but there's also a lot of other like Creole and there's just a lot of mishmash here in South Louisiana with the different types of festival. But usually it's based around a food. There's a food that was either gathered for, or, the community all worked together to create it or whatever. Now it's more, party, and everybody gets drunk, and there's beer and on tap and live bands and that kind of thing. But it back even when I was a kid, I can remember them having like people dressed in certain like costumes that were indicative of the area, like almost like a Mardi Gras type thing. And we had one here in our little town, actually. It's a Festival de Barbu, which is the Catfish Festival. But yeah, nothing like what I'm looking at in some of these pictures, man. Nothing like that. That is just mind blowing.
I've been to Mardi Gras twice when I was in university. I used to play ultimate frisbee, and they have a ultimate frisbee tournament during Mardi Gras during spring break. So we drove. We drove from Wisconsin all the way down. It was like 20-hour drive. We took turns, like 4 hours each, 4 or 5 hours each, driving and hung out for the weekend. Playing at this ultimate frisbee tournament and experiencing Mardi Gras. Oh my gosh, that Bourbon Street and the adjacent streets, it just smelled like alcohol and piss.
Yeah, you were there.
That was
then
it.
You were actually there. Yeah, somebody came out with a Mardi Gras perfume or cologne or something not too long ago, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Interesting
you haven't been
fact.
there, obviously.
It is not alcohol and piss that you're smelling. It is actually one substance. It is
probably, yeah, probably
just piss that is mostly alcohol.
Just the latter.
It was an eye-opening kind of because I think I was like 20 at the time, or maybe 19, I don't remember, but like it was just like I just rivers of people just shoulder to shoulder, and if you want to go in another direction, you have to kind of hop on this other stream of people, and there are people at the balconies like throwing beads, and women just like flashing, and a girl flashing, and you see a bunch of hands going up though. It's like really like horrendous.
It is very, very horrible.
One of my friends got like
and never wanted to go.
Oh God, yeah, like it was enough. Twice was enough. One of my friends just got grabbed by a policeman. Like he was just walking, drinking, and hanging out, and then he just got grabbed by the police and thrown into a paddy wagon. We didn't even know where he went. He showed up the next morning for the frisbee tournament, and he told us what happened, and they just took him, and they put him in jail. He had to pay like $100 at that time to get out. Yeah.
It's a great way to generate revenue, I guess.
Yeah, whatever works, I guess. Yeah, but it was an experience. That's for sure.
So how have the last couple of years been treating you? Things got a little crazy there in the world. Did you keep your head down and just try to stay out of it, or was it unavoidable?
I mean, I think it's just unavoidable for everybody in general, because it's a global, quote unquote, global event, worldly event, whatever you want to call it. But like, different strategies are, at least from what I have observed, different strategies were being kind of rolled out depending on the people and the region. So India is a kind of there's a large group of people, and the propaganda that I was seeing here is that, India is a third world country, but if India can get everybody jabbed, then there's no excuse that the first world countries can't, and so India was kind of being promoted as like a country that the government has everybody under control and everybody is like volunteering to get the jab and all that, but that's not the case. That's all just propaganda.
Really? That's good to know.
I mean, that's as far as I know. I mean, they're they claim that they've given out like 1 billion shots. I don't really necessarily believe that, personally speaking.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd necessarily believe that either. I mean, I don't know.
My region here, I live in the state of Himachal Pradesh. It was considered a green state, which meant that it was safe to be here. But during 2020 and 2021, even other Indians who were from other states were not allowed to come without a permit into my state for a couple of years. So the area I live in, because it's mountainous, it's lush, there's a lot of people drive through this area to go up to even further up north to higher altitude places. So they like to do this like motorcycling and hiking and stuff like this. It was all under lockdown. So there were no tourists during this time, between 20 and 21. So like a lot of people were kind of struggling because they rely on tourism to and that's true everywhere else. So suicide rate, from what I heard recently, on average in this area is like 70 per year, and has risen to 700 plus per year in the last couple of years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It is sad, but it's just, I don't know, part and parcel of all the stuff that's happening in the world, so. But yeah, I mean, like in the police though too. I mean, they were just taking advantage of the situation by enforcing masks, and they would go around in groups and kind of like bully people, and if people weren't wearing masks, they would threaten them, and then eventually they would get a few bucks out of them, and that's what it was mainly about during that initial phase of the pandemic, is that they can just it's just like a little sideline job they could do to extort money from people.
Just like Mardi Gras. That's right. We'll just snatch you off the street, and for $100 you can have your freedom again. And you do that a few thousand times a day and see what happens.
Yeah. So, but everything is more or less back to normal, apparently. Starting last year or so, more and more people have been pouring in, and more tourists been coming in, and things been kind of normal-ish, and the streets are being filled back up again, and so. But I don't hear about this jab stuff as much now than a couple years ago. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you start looking back, and when you've got one-way grocery aisles. I mean, just the stupid shit that people were doing and convinced that needed to be done in the name of a global pandemic. It was laughable.
To be fair,
I've
also done a lot. To be fair, I've done a lot of thinking about this lately. Doing a lot of internal work with myself. You know, we're standing on this flat Earth now, and we have a lot of things we've kind of figured out and uncovered for ourselves, and that kind of gives us a little bit of like, why can't you see that? And I don't really think it's I don't even think it's that with what people did. I think it's more of, I mean, even in my situation where I was at home where my mother was passing away from cancer. I was in an emotional place where I would have done anything if I thought it would have saved my mother's life and rid her of this horrible thing she was going through. Anything. And so when people are put in that, and I'm not saying it was right or justifiable or any of that, but when people have been mind controlled so long that they believe what's being spewed out of that fucking idiot box, they're not reacting in let's all go along with this because we're following the idiot box. I'm a family and I love them and I'm trying to take care of them and I want them to be safe. Not, everybody's doing it, I better do it too. You know, I really good percentage of that, don't get me wrong, but I went through a lot with my mom in that time, and I did a lot of things that I normally would not have dealt with in my time, including putting on masks and gloves and everything else. I don't know what I'm really saying here. I kind of got spun out because of the emotion behind it all. I guess it's really more of just I've kind of started reevaluating my way of looking at the rest of the world and the people in it. I'm working on myself more than anything else, and so me pointing the finger at, why are you still wearing a mask? Because there are still people in my fucking town wearing masks. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Then I stop and think, okay, they may have a sick relative. Maybe I'm trying to be less condemning, more forgiving, more of a human like I used to be before I got so high and mighty. I don't know. I'll shut up and let you talk now. You go.
Well, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from, Walt, and people in general. I mean, like when you have that perspective that there's something really bad is going on, and these are the things that you need to do to help. You're going to do the best that you can, and that's true with most people. It's just that once that perception changes, right? That perspective changes. That hey, what is actually real? What is actually that's going on? Then you understand that this is all a bunch of poppycock, and people been lied to. They're programmed in a particular way. We still have to be empathetic to them, but we have to live our lives according to the perception that we have come to, which is that if you are in that position that everything is a lie, like all that stuff that's been pushed to us, then you cannot behave in the same way as everybody else. It's just like you be lying to yourself. And I know there are occasions, and this is the individual battles that people have to go through about, there are moments where I didn't want to wear a mask, but I also didn't want to have to give money to the policeman because that's the thing that was going to happen. So, where do I draw the line? People were wearing scarves in this region, and that was considered okay. And I would do that rather than putting a mask on, because that mask became like a symbol, and there would be situations where it was perfectly normal for me to wear a mask, like especially when I'm in Delhi, even prior to the pandemic, right? The pandemic, but I didn't want to do it just to show that I'm not going to be wearing a mask either. So there are those things though too. So I don't know. It's everybody's got their own battle they have to come to terms with, in my opinion.
So I have a really good friend he's Punjabi, and he wants to go back to India really bad to see his parents. He hasn't seen in like 10 years, but he says that India is still requiring the GB jab in order to fly in or out of the country. Is that still true?
Well, I'll be honest. I am not entirely sure. I think that is probably true. I think it is true. It's just that I've been. So look, I was like living in Nepal for a while, and then when I lived in India, I have a visa that allowed me to go back and forth as long as I can stay in India for like 6 months at a time. But then, so I would go to Nepal, hang out for a while, and then come back to India. So I would, leave a couple times a year and hang out in Nepal. But I came back to India just before the borders closed back in 2020, and I've been here since. I haven't left, mainly because I'm a little bit lazy to go, and I don't want to get on any kind of transportation and go to a big city. That's on one hand, but on the other hand, like if I'm going to go, I'm going to be going for good type of deal. So I think it is true what your friend is saying in regards to coming in and out of the country, because the transportation, like the planes and everything, that's still controlled. They can easily control that. They can't control the border so easily, but the airplanes for sure they can control that much easier. Did that make sense?
Right. Yeah, and that's again part of the control system is that whole thing. Anyway, I don't want to get off on another rant. I'm trying not to do that again. It's definitely been changing here in my local area, but as I was saying, I still see the face diapers, and I'm not even understanding the situation. I mean, I don't know. What is up? The Alan Holman hitting the chat. His ears must have been burning. We were talking about you a little bit earlier, brother. Good to see you. Sorry. Go ahead, everybody. I'll shut up now.
Well, look, at least in my limited understanding of what I believe is happening, nothing is being done by accident. And, this jibby jabby thing is about control. It's never about actually, it's always been about control. And they're funneling people into this kind of biometric digital currency system. And we all know it, right? We all know it. Okay. And the thing is, I spent a lot of time when I was off YouTube, I spent a lot of time on Clubhouse. And I was talking about the flat earth, and I talked about the Mandela effect. I know you guys know I'm Mandela affected and all that. And I spoke about, the government conspiracies. And I wasn't really sure where people were actually at, because there were definitely 100% like shills there who were like paid to be there like 24/7 to promote the jab. There were those people who existed as well. But then, when I was trying to talk to people who are professionals, who are very intelligent, and try to, talk to them about the flat earth, I got stonewalled a lot, by these type of people. And I didn't know exactly where it was coming from. And then again, I was talking about like the lack of evidence of viruses existing and all this kind of stuff. And I get stonewalled by certain people. And, I used to be a mod in some of the bigger groups, and then they stopped modding me because I was telling them that, it doesn't even exist type of deal. And I was thinking a lot about like, human psychology. And the thing is, when people make certain claims, and this is true with the globies as well, is that like, it's hard for them to backtrack. And same with the jab. Like once people went in that direction, it's like harder for them to like come back around and admit some kind of mistake was made. They would rather like double down or triple down and try to justify the things that they've done. This is to be like the case with human beings in general. Not always, there are always exceptions, but in general, people are kind of like that. So I've like stopped trying to convince people that things are in a particular way. Either people are going to be able to see it, or they're just not.
That is so interesting that you have come to that same place I have come to. I, do this solely now to hang out with a bunch of amazing people I've come to love. That is why I'm here now. It is no longer what it used to be. I don't know. It's the whole thing. I definitely feel it's up to you. It's up to everybody, not just who might be listening to this show, but just on the whole plane. It's so cliche to say these things now, but it's so true and so like would fix it all If everybody would just work on themselves, just work on you.
I completely agree with that as well. I had a deep conversation with a friend who I think he's like 75% on board with flat Earth, but he was coming to the conclusion that if he fully admits it, he's going to have to accept everything else in his life could also be a lie, which kind of brings me up to something else I just heard recently that I didn't even hear of until Crumb brought it up and sent me a link to the Globies that were basically giving condolences to Bob, and it was MC Toon that I guess presented the video, and then there was Red's Rhetoric, and there was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 other people that were on there that were just absolutely sincere, saying, hey, we miss you, Bob, you did a great job, and all that kind of stuff. But then MC Toon and Red's Rhetoric were just backhanding like Bob, saying, oh yeah, well, we miss you, but you're still fucking wrong, essentially. It's like, dude, grow a fucking...
Yeah.
Be respectful, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and there's nothing anybody can really do about it. And that's another thing that I'm coming to realize about the internet reality is that, you know, people are a lot more brave to speak their minds the way that they are, and they don't mind being inappropriate and or disrespectful to others because, you know, 99.9% of the time, you know, there are no repercussions for speaking in any which way or behaving in any which way. And that's unfortunate because like we, you know, want to interact with one another in a respectful manner. And that's part of human, I don't know, dignity and honor in my mind about society, that we are polite with one another. And at least that's the kind of the way I brought up, especially, you know, I'm adopted from South Korea, but I grew up in South Korea a little bit. And then in my family, it was very important for us to speak to one another in a respectful way. I don't know if that's like that with other families or not. And then having been back in South Korea again, you know, this idea of politeness is very important. You know, this like social obligation and duty to, at least, even if you disagree, just, you know, there's a way to go about doing that. So I think we are living in a different culture now where less of that is happening and people are a little bit more brazen in the way in which they are going about their business. And it's unfortunate because, like, you know, we are striving or looking for ways to be more cohesive to each other. And we know in the back of our minds that if everybody woke up to the truth of the flat earth or something else, you know, and the conspiracies thereof, then we wouldn't be having these kind of conversations. We wouldn't find ourselves in the back corners of the internet, you know, talking to each other about what's going on. The world would be a completely different place. But we know that's not what's happening right now, right?
Yeah, when you were just talking about human like respect and dignity and stuff, did you guys see Jaren's video yesterday at the very beginning, where there's like this human dignity test that he was talking about?
No,
I
did not.
Okay, well, I can't like spoil it. You have to go back. It's at the very beginning of his what's it called, his Thursday video that he does.
Okay.
Speaker's Corner, and there's like this
yeah.
test.
Cool.
And it's all about basically like if you call into a stream or you're commenting in like chat and how you respond. If you get kicked out, how do you respond back and blah, blah, blah. It's really fucking weird. Yeah, you have to just go back and watch that, I suppose.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. Excuse me. So apparently, Nat,
well, I
you
think
are a
this
friend.
is.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna... You go.
No, I was just saying that everything that everybody's doing, because it's easy for everybody to just make a channel and start blurring out, and everybody's got an opinion, and that wasn't always the case. Like when we were growing up, there were like, you know, right, people who were on TV or on radio, and there were just very few of them compared to the amount of attention that they were getting. Right. And then now, right, like almost anybody can have a channel and can say anything about anything, you know, it's a very kind of spread out, you know, and the ice is kind of thinning. And this is where like credibility and you know, like having content in terms of like, hey, is it like well researched? Is there evidence backing up and all this? And of course, like, we don't find ourselves here on Ironworx without having done some research ourselves. And we didn't really nearly get into the flat earth community because like we just wanted to wake up one day and become a flat earther. Like at least for me, it took me months to come to that conclusion. Actually, it took me months, and some people it took them like 15 minutes. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit on the dumber side, but like it took me, like I really had to be sure.
I as well. It took me quite a while, a good 6 months of just plotting and working and doing my own video explorations and trying to figure out what the sun was doing. And yeah, I couldn't just be convinced. I had to see it. Had to see it.
Yep.
And that kind of is why I don't, the fact that I had to work it out and see it for myself. I thought, well, if I show people the steps I took, that got me through the craziness of it all and some facts I seem to have come across with observation, just simply observation, then, everybody would go, oh, well, let me go look and observe and try to see what I can figure out. No, not at all. Not only not that, but just the opposite. Condemnation, ridicule, really horrible comments, go eat bleach, yeah, okay. That's logical discourse and debate. Awesome. So I just kind of it's so hard with the me-ness of it all. I watch certain things Michelle will send me on TikTok because she definitely has gone down that rabbit hole, and it's usually good stuff she sends me. Our cat videos. And so she'll send me something and it'll be a person saying some really great stuff. But then she'll send me another video and that person will also be saying some really great stuff, but you can feel that it's definitely not their real belief, or they're not, they're putting this video out to either be seen or have some kind of like 15 minutes of, I don't know. I don't even know what it's just, you can feel the genuine seekers of knowledge, or you can feel the disingenuous. I don't know. Maybe everybody can't feel that. Maybe that's why TikTok is as huge as it is, because most people just see it and go, "Oh yeah, that guy has good hair." I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand the shallowness of some of it. I don't know.
Well, you're talking about human empathy.
Okay.
I think that's all you're talking about, is that you can tell if someone's being genuine or not just by their body language, by their tone of their voice. And, if someone's going to be doing a stream like Red's Rhetoric and refuses to show his face, but will make accusations against people constantly, I can tell he's being disingenuous. And that's part of just being able to decipher if someone is honest and using your own, empathy to figure out who they are and if they're actually credulous or not.
Righto.
I do have some space lettuce to share a little bit later on when you guys want to hear it.
That's cool. We'll probably hit that right like towards the last there.
Okay.
So is this? You live in a country there that has a whole, like a bigger population, not just from what we've seen. Anyway, you've been in both countries. You'll know if it's true or not, as far as the amount of people in these regions. Because here there's almost a palpable, in the States anyway, feeling of things are changing. And there's almost a death throw that these government entities, these leeching entities that are trying to suck all our lives dry, are going through, because they know that people are not going to play their game much longer. And so you can feel that almost like a ground swelling here. Do you feel that way there, Natch, as well, in your part of the world?
Yeah. Okay, look, like I'm an American citizen, but I haven't lived in America for a long time. Of course, I have a lot of American friends, and I keep my ears close to the ground about what's going on over there. And with the geopolitics is what it is. America is a pretty big force to deal with, and there is a source of like culture around the world. So nobody in the world can ignore America, as far as I'm concerned. And India is, it's a different country. I mean, every country is so different, and like when I was in China was very different for me, and India is also a very strange place. You have all these like states that are very different from each other with different groups of people. Even though you can say this is a typical Indian, I can start to identify which region of India they're from just by the way they look, because I'm used to seeing so many different types of Indians, and it's a very diverse country. Right. There are different types of Indian genetics that you can look at and say,
that's the
very
thing in
like
the States as well. I mean, there's a certain look to people here in South Louisiana. They tend to be shorter, more squat, a little wider. You can't, like, I have a trouble finding jeans that are long enough in the inseam for me, because people in this area tend to be shorter. It'll be like whatever 30 instead of 32, which is what I need. And everybody here is 30, and so it's and then when I go over to Oregon, to Portland, that area, there's a certain look to the people there. It's not just regional, it's genetic, it's their features, it's their body build. Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like my main point is that people are different and the countries are also different. So for different people, different consciousness, different cultures, different language groups, you need to come up with different types of propaganda that's going to be, palatable for the people who are there, and like when I was looking at what was happening in like New Zealand and Australia and Canada, like I look at them as a kind of like experimental countries, and it's no offense to the people who are there. It's just my opinion and observation of these countries, because like they're a smaller population, right? And the government can have like a bigger impact in them. And maybe they're like preparing something for America because it's a larger population and the history and the people, and plus the fact that people have guns and stuff like that. All those things factor in differently, according to strategy that you use to try to, sway the trend of the consciousness there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Well, it's a hard dichotomy that I'm working through, because even as I feel the groundswell and the growth and I feel myself pulling away a little bit from being online and pulling away a little bit from digging around on different areas I used to go to quite often in the YouTube world. And I don't know, it's just it's me. It's nothing anybody's done or anything that's going on in chat. I'm saying it's not anybody or any channel or anything like that. It's me and what I'm trying to figure out for myself. So, but again, I'm here because I love you guys and I need to have you in my life. That's truly why I'm here. If someone shows up and they hear a thing we say talking to each other and they go, wow, these people are genuine and they are talking from a true, honest place, and it makes them then go dig out some things for themselves, that's great. But I'm not going to stress over it not happening or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to make me okay rather than trying to figure out what's wrong with everybody else. Because everybody else is just
absolutely
screwed in the head.
Well, and that's the thing, like, because, when you look at your own personal journey, and that's true with each one of us. And we butted our head against the wall once, twice, 10 times, how many other times that you need to do that. And you need to have that experience to come to an understanding that that's not actually very effective. And it's not really good for me, and probably the wall doesn't care, but at least for my forehead, I don't want to keep bashing my forehead against the wall, because that's only going to result in me having a bloody forehead and brain damage. Right. So, so like you look for other ways to be more productive and being less concerned about like what other people think is a part of that. But that doesn't mean we have to be callous either. We have to just pick and choose, whom we want to associate ourselves with. Everybody should be given a fair chance. I think this is a good gentlemanly thing to do, to just give everybody a fair. You don't know anything about them, and we are different. For different people, like our interaction isn't like, I'm not one dimensional. It's like you're not going to get the same nachiketa all the time. And maybe for some people, they might get a slightly different version of Nachiketa, who was angry or frustrated because, somehow there's a miscommunication happening. That's going to be their perception of you.
Yeah.
What can you do about it? Nothing.
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 And that's just like about this whole idea of people seeing what we're seeing or waking up to what we're waking up to or any of that. I mean, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Nobody wants to be shaken out of their normal, everyday little hum of the day. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Even we didn't want to. Like you were talking about, it took you months. It took me months because I didn't want it to be that big of a craziness. I didn't want it to be that huge of a thing because it would shake up everything and I would have to reassess my whole life, and I knew that unconsciously. So that's probably why it was such a huge undertaking for me to go, okay, let me see if there's some legitimate stuff here, or is it just videos, and when I saw farther than I should and the sun wasn't doing what I thought it should do and all those things, then I started really going, okay, let me dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
And jumped hard and really got to a place where I went back not long ago to show some of you guys some video on my early days stuff. Oh, it was the Rahu orb I had seen. So that got me digging through old videos. And as I heard some of the things I was saying in those old videos, it really made me understand that, it's not ever, nothing I could say is going to make somebody see what they don't want to see. If they're not ready, they're not ready. It's not even that, it's just, you've got to do it yourself. That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I mean, you can get help along the way. I mean, we all have gotten help. I mean, when I was first waking up back in 2014 during the summer, the thing that really made me start to question, because I was already into conspiracies, is because Obama was on TV talking about how we didn't have time to talk to the Flat Earth Society. And I was like, why do you even need to mention that? Like, what, like, of course, we don't have time to talk to the Flat Earthers, but why even mention it at all? And so I already didn't care about politics, nor did I trust anybody there. But then that really ignited a curiosity in me to want to look into it. Like, could it actually be a thing at that time? And then that's when I found Mark Sargent and his Flat Earth Clues, and Eric Dubay, however they feel about it. But that was back in the day, and Matt Powerland. And those the three main ones.
Absolutely. Yep. He was definitely one of the early ones for me as well.
Yeah.
In fact, we kind of were interacting with Matt and then eventually the lady who became his wife, she was in our groups on Twitter, hanging out with us, talking about all this stuff. And then suddenly she's like, okay, I'm going out to California to meet Matt. I'm like,
no. She said, I'm going out to California to marry Matt.
She did say that, but I didn't want to make it so. And she did.
My goodness.
So, hey, you got to set your mind to a goal and achieve it. There you go. But yeah, so
there you go.
It's been quite a ride.
Power of obsessive thinking. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just said it was the power of obsessive thinking.
And we are all obsessive. We have to be to a degree, but, to get to this point. But also, it's just amazing seeing the journey. I mean, the flat Earth and the globe. I mean, it's like not even a similar thing. It's like completely opposite. It's like you cannot just, it's a day in life type of stuff. It's not like, it's the shape is like a little bit pear shaped compared to people thinking it's like perfect circle. I mean, it's not like that at all. It's like very different. So you cannot live in both worlds, and it's only been, let's say, like less than 10 years for me in this journey, and I've seen so many changes happening, Jaren and Zem and Globusters coming into the scene, and I've never really made content when I was waking up, but I was watching these people, and I've always been in the background of things, but people evolve, over time, and their thinking changes though too. It's no longer the same the way we thought like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and that's the beauty of the truth, is that it does have this evolution towards that objectivity. I mean, that's what we're striving for, is that objective reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so many things to keep us from that, even this show, even this internet, even this mouse in my hand that I'm clicking around with. I mean, it's, oh,
There's many truths though of this reality, and when we identify ourselves like as like a okay, I'm a flat earther, and then if you make flat earth content, I love all the flat earth content that's out there and the people who are dedicated to do that, but the other aspect of what makes up our individuality is many other truths that also are there, part of being a man or a woman, living in this region, having to deal with these people. That's part of your reality as well, like your family and your friends and that kind of interaction. And so flat earth is, of course, a very big part of that. But there are many other things that we have to give attention to have some, I don't know, perspective on actually what's happening as well. Because like the kind of deception that is being spun out there is in everything, not only the flat earth, obviously, but in every like major pillar. Yeah, every major pillar of society is like infiltrated by these global elites, and they have a very particular agenda to hijack human consciousness. That's what it comes down to,
And the thing that it breaks so many people when I try to talk to, family, friends I've had for 40, 50 years, where it drives me crazy because they definitely can see things are off up to a point. And they can see that there's definitely some types of agenda in play at certain areas, but they can't get to the hugeness of it. They can't get to how much it's all lies. There's no, oh, well, science, biology, germs. It's like, no, I was a biology major. I can tell you that this stuff is definitely not, luckily I had a professor who showed us the other side of things, while we're talking genetics, he's handing us out stuff, talking about the fact that the fossil record doesn't match up to anything. And so he definitely had us digging a lot of side directions, not just accepting the party line. So I'm grateful for that, Dr. Chestnut. If you're out there listening, thank you so much. But yeah, definitely the lies get so huge, they just have to and I don't even think it's cognitive anymore, the cognitive dissonance. I think it's just simply the enormity of something being that lie, that
it's too shocking.
Lie. It's too much. They can't even get their head to that. It would break.
But
everything.
they don't want to, because their identity, their identity is too much, identified with maybe that history or that cosmology, whatever lie that they've been told, and they got PhD degrees on it. Like, how can they be completely off on that, right? And that would be too much for people to come to accept, because we come to the realization that we might have wasted 20 30 years of our lives on something that was a complete bullshit. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat agreeing with this idea of it. They know people in their lives that it's the same thing. It's just too big of a thing for them to wrap their head around. So, and I get it. Then how do you go to work the next day? How do you, pay the bills the next day with the, it's hard. It's hard knowing the things that we've seen and still having to deal with the daily grind of this life. The only thing you can do is change it. If you don't want that daily grind, you can change it. You can get the hell out of it. It's hard. It takes effort, and it's uncomfortable to do it. You can't do it and have internet everywhere you go. You can't do it with a smartphone in your hand. You have to figure out, okay, how do I live my life away from the grocery store, away from the electric lines? It's not just getting off the grid with a prefab house you bought and blah, blah, blah. You have to learn how to live a different way. You have to change everything about your life. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be comfortable, and it's going to take a lot of hard work and effort. and what's on TV right now, and oh man, I need some coffee, and whoo, a fat bowl would be nice right now, and I think I'll just read a book about it, and then I'll learn about how to do this off the grid. I've got a whole pile of books now. I'm ready when it happens. Oh shit, if it happens, what happens? It's just a big catch-22.
Well, I mean, that's and then that's something for each individual to come to terms with, though, too, because still there isn't the flat Earth wasn't like the end point. Like, yes, it's a very big one. It's a very big milestone, perhaps in one's journey, but like not living as a hypocrite is something that we all strive for. And how do you deal with that? Because if you have the capacity to think of like how you impact this world and how you actually derive your resources from, and most everybody have to deal with money of some kind, and in any which way, if you're dealing with money, you have to deal with central banks and inflation and all that kind of stuff, all that that comes along with dealing with money and trading, bartering with everybody, living in a society and having a job and paying taxes and all that. So like, how do you live a life that is balanced, where you still care for the truth, but at the same time, they're like duties that you have to do. These are just things. This is just like breathing air. It's a necessary part of life. So like the way I think about it, I think it's important for people to just kind of like, well, I know it's all bullshit, but what can I do? So like find some balance in it, and not be too dualistic about like I'm living a lie and I can't, I don't have any other choice but to live a lie. That's not always like black and white thing. You guys understand what I'm talking about here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do. You're talking about where my mind is right now, dude. I'm definitely grappling with all that. It's, I guess it kind of came to a head with Bob, but I had already been down in this. In 2020, dealing with my mom passing as the world lost its mind really made me go, okay, what the heck? What am I doing, number one? And then what is going on and why is this happening? And so it really opened up a whole new set of things to go, okay, so what and how can it be? And so even for those of us who thought we knew how crazy it could get and how nuts things could be and how much people are mind controlled, we were still flabbergasted, by what happened. So that really sent me definitely on a whole personal thing and trying to work out what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why am I here? It's not just, I'm going to figure this out and tell everybody. Well, that's good. You enjoy that. And they're going to listen, right? Yeah, they are. And as they're listening, they'll be talking about stuff they want to talk about, looking at a little thing on their phone. And, what time is it? Yeah, it's almost time to drop our kids off at the school. And yeah, things just, the grind is real. I saw that. Somebody said it in chat, but it's gone now. But yeah, that was you, Nima, about the grind. It just distracts us so much. Even what we're doing, what we do on this weekly grind distracts us from what we could be doing, what the internal work could be for each of us individually. We can't do it in a group. Yeah, it's great to talk about these things and share these ideas and help everybody work out what they need to do on their own, what they've got to do for themselves. And I feel like I'm just talking in circles at this point. Sometimes I've said so much of this stuff, so many different ways, so many different kinds of angles that it could be approached from. And it's like, okay, let's see what's happening, and then you go take a trip to the local store and you see it's not really changing that much at all. If we weren't connected to the people who are aware, if we weren't connected like we are with these groups and these chats and these shows, would we even have an inkling that things are changing? You wouldn't walking around outside in my town. Not at all. You still, like I said, you still see certain groups of people with their faces covered and for no discernible reason. Not just if they don't know the facts, but just it's not even something that's being required, asked of them, talked about anymore. It doesn't make sense at this point at all. I don't know. I just, you got to work on you.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. You just have to work on you.
Well, I mean, we have to come to the conclusion about the things that we have control over and the things that we have very little control over in our lives. And
Exactly.
yes, yeah,
Exactly.
and like and some people will have like bigger like impact and influence, the so-called influencers or the leaders in the community compared to others, and that's great, because at the end of the day, people look for examples as leadership. Nobody cares about what people
But I
say.
don't know if that's even the truth anymore. That's what concerns me. I almost think it's more of I don't even know how to say this even without seeming like I may be insulting anybody, and I don't want to because I'm not trying to. It's just an uncomfortable truth that if we hadn't arrived here, I guess, in a vibrational way that let us be able to seek these things, would we even have started looking for them in the first place? Is this just is this a buildup of things we've learned over many lives that got us to this now? Damn it, I'm just losing it. I'm spinning out here. I don't know. There's so many things I'm trying to say.
Can I just chime in real quick? Yeah. So
Absolutely.
like I feel like I know what you're getting at here, Walt. I would say for sure it's a culmination of all the lives that we have, lived before to experience this moment in life. And maybe somebody had like hundreds of lives and maybe somebody had thousands. I have no idea. It's not for me to say. I don't even know how many lives I might have had myself.
Right.
Doesn't matter. But what matters is that we are here now. Even if you don't believe in that, like, all these things happened and brought me here. But something has happened and you were born and you have arrived to this world, and then you have to deal with what's in front of you. This is part of life, right? And what we're experiencing though too, again, is that every single one of us is having our journey through all these interactions, through having our own channels or just listening in the peanut gallery. It doesn't matter. It's still some way we're interacting with each other, and people kind of start to coalesce according to their interests. That's how attention works.
There it is. That's it. That's what it is. It's already in you to be predisposed for this, or you wouldn't be here.
Yes.
And so then take that to the nth degree, and you've got somebody who is so ready for a leader, not necessarily a leader, but a guru or a person who's seen so much and figured it out. Now what? Show me. You figure it out. You go see it. You don't. If you've learned it from somebody's feet, have you learned it? No, you've got to experience it. You have to internalize it. It can't just be, it can't just be Bob had a great thing he said about death, so now that's what I think. It can't be that. Right. You have to mull it over. You have to put it inside and make it part of yourself that you're battling with, and make it part of you. It can't just be I heard Bob say it, so that is my new thing. I don't know. I don't want to insult anybody. That's what I'm trying not to do.
That's 100%. That's why all these you can say these enlightened individuals who have come, they always say don't just believe me because I tell you that this is the case. You have to come to your own conclusions yourself.
Right. Thank you.
Just don't believe me because I said so. Like what would that do? Then everybody becomes a parrot. And I say, well, everybody should love each other. Oh yes, everybody should love each other. But there's nothing behind it. There's no thought process behind it. There's no actual understanding as to why one should actually. Maybe we should hate everybody. Maybe that's the truth. But why do it? Is it just the programming, or have you come to some understanding yourself as to why the truth is what it is? Anything at all.
Right. And why you react to it the way you do, and why not just your reactions, but the things you've learned growing up, and what mom might have said, or what you heard on Bob's show or my show, or, you have to be able to make it for you. It can't be just because you heard it and it sounded like your thing. It's, I like that. Yeah. Why? Why do you like it? What is it that's making it trigger in you, or not to resonate, I guess, with you, know? So,
and
I don't know. I've been digging deep.
This is again, kind of at least my own journey and coming to my own realization about like what I believe to be this world and what I believe to be God. But I also come to the understanding it's going to be different for every individual. So why should I promote my understanding to somebody else or convince them that this is the case? Because I also understand that they need to have that perception at that moment, and allow them to have that experience, allow them the possibility to actually come to that realization themselves rather than me just telling them that this is the case. And I think this is what a genuine leaders tend to do, is that they're not just interested in having followers, but they want everybody to come up to their level of understanding of and being able to stand on their own 2 feet, right?
This is so awesome. I mean, even I see Iron Horse Ross in chat saying, yes, the teacher can only guide you to the water. You have to drink it by yourself. You want to, and you, as a teacher, you want to share this knowledge and this information, but you don't want to give away the punchline, right? They've got to have the full context of the information that's being given. Otherwise, it's just this very narrow view, and you're not getting the breadth of the subject matter. And all of this just,
experiences. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say this. All of this screams Freemasonry. I mean, this is how Freemasonry is sort of designed, isn't it? They don't just go out there and push these Freemasonic beliefs on you. If you want to be a part of a Freemasonic lodge, you have to ask. Mm-hmm. It has to come, and your life has to be in such a position that you are moved to put forth the effort to acquire this knowledge from them. They're not pushing it on you. They're not selling you on it. And then, even if you do, they don't give you the punchline. You have to work through degrees, slowly gaining context of the subject matter of this information. And that's just that makes perfect sense. It's not like it's controlled information where they're gatekeeping this all. It wouldn't benefit anybody just to give away the punchline from the beginning and then try to fill in the setup afterwards. And I see so many people scared of Freemasonry or demonizing and making Freemasons their boogeyman that they've got to be scared of. And you just really have to ask yourself, has this come like Zack and his childhood experiences with Demolay? Or are you just programmed from shit you saw on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people are scared of Freemasons because of shit that they've been programmed to buy on the internet. When deep down, it's the same basic knowledge and concepts that we all believe in, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. The teacher doesn't want to force it down your throat. He wants you to show you how to find your way to a stream so that you can drink your own water. And that's just really interesting how many people are scared of these Freemasonic ideas, but then don't even see that it's really just sort of how we all live our lives.
Okay, so this is something that I would like to propose, is that Freemasonry can be a philosophy, like maybe Gnosticism. There is kind of a philosophy, and there's they do follow scripture, they have rituals and things like that. And just like in India and in Buddhism, they have rituals as well. It's calendar based, it's astrological based, and all this. But the thing is, what is the organization at the core, like how it impacts the world? So I can say, yes, there could be very possible many good people in Christianity, as an example, and many good people in Buddhism and Hinduism. But if the core members of that, say, organization or religion, and they have nefarious intentions, and they actually obfuscate that organization for their own selfish purposes, right?
Yep.
While the vast majority, if they're still, they could be good, decent individuals, but they're unaware of what's happening. And actually what's happening could be is that they're being used as a kind of cannon fodder or like a kind of an image thing, like they're the PR or the protector of that organization, while the core can do whatever it wants. I mean, there's that possibility as well, right?
Absolutely, the useful idiots.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have to be just concerned about like what is it ultimately, like we may not know, because there could be like, layers of secret information that we're not privy to access. We can guesstimate, we can speculate, just because we know we've been lied to. And like, especially coming to that position of being a flat earther means that NASA lied to you, school lied to you, and there's 100 years of indoctrination. And even prior to that, they knew the earth was flat, but they just probably were trying to figure out ways to convince people it's not. I mean, that's been something that's been a conspiracy for hundreds of years, that people have to deal with, right?
Yep.
And they didn't get there on their own. These secret organizations got a lot of money. You have to have resources, and you have to have people who are in powerful positions to perpetrate the lie, because it's harder to actually, come up with a lie. You can say it's easy, but like to maintain it like as well as they did for hundreds of years. Because if it was obvious, like then we wouldn't be having these conversations,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But there's not much in life that is obvious. I mean, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of universal truths that apply to everyone across the board. Everybody's experiences and nature and their nurturing and their exercise of their free will has generated their own perception, where, it's just sort of hard to have that universal knowledge that goes across and applies to all.
How? Like how will you be able to obtain that universal, knowledge? I mean, you have to. We are subjective individuals born as babies, and then we grow up, and everything. This whole world was just like mine when I was a baby. Like I didn't understand about the other at all, and then you get into your adulthood, and you start to question about the nature of reality and God and spiritual matters and stuff like this. But like to get to that point of universal knowledge, of course, it's hard. It's nearly impossible. Very few people arrive to that point, like in the history of humanity.
And then so much of society is meant at distracting from even looking. Big shout out to Austin. Awesome Austin at the Melodome with the $5 super chat. Thank you for this amazing conversation, fellas. Thank you for being here, Austin.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you guys for hanging out, for damn sure.
44 of you in chat that I see right now, 44 live viewers. And just imagine if the controllers took Iron Realm Media and demonized it. And then what that would look like to the secret underground chat rooms in 20 years and all the misinformation and lack of firsthand information of what it was to be in the chat of an Ironworx show live on a Friday versus the things that people talk about happens and goes on. And I don't know, it's the firsthand experience versus what you're told on the internet. And so many people just seem to completely and utterly disregard their firsthand information or think that firsthand information isn't even required. I saw a movie. You know how many times I've seen this television episode? I'm a freaking doctor. I can diagnose all sorts of issues now because Grey's Anatomy.
I watched Dr. Oz. I've got one on you. He's a real doctor.
Dr. Who?
Yeah. Reality follows art, like far more than art following reality. That's what Walt used to say. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm a pro with law because I watched Judge Judy a couple times.
Right. Right. Oh my goodness.
And what a disservice to the judicial system that show was.
You know, she makes like $70 million a year.
I would imagine so.
And just to be a condescending bitch. I mean, that's it. It's not like she's performing judicial acts. They put her behind a wooden desk and she acts like a condescending bitch for $70 million. Great. Just great.
Yeah, if she was my judge for like a traffic ticket, I would say, case dismissed, give me another judge.
Yeah. Can you recuse yourself for being a condescending bitch?
You guys want to hear a little bit of Space Lettuce?
I do. Let me just say hello real quick to Jonathan from Jersey. I see hanging out, or at least was. I'm not quite sure how long he's been up there because if I don't watch it, it comes in quiet. But I do see he has popped in. Morning, Jonathan. How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Oh, you know,
What's
it's
up,
Friday.
brother?
How you been?
You know, grief is a bitch.
Why would happen? All I heard was Judge Judy's a something.
A condescending bitch. No, well, Bob Nodell passed a week ago.
Oh, that. I'm sorry. Yes.
So, yeah, there's still a lot of grief there. And just strangeness. And strangeness that comes with grieving and all that.
And our reaction to it. That's really what it's all about, I guess, is, you know, our own reaction and how we're dealing with things. But good to see you here, sir. Definitely.
Good to see Lucky Haskins in chat, too. Shout out, Lucky. I see you there.
What's up, Lucky?
How you been, Jonathan?
Trying to make sense of the world myself.
Yeah? How's that going?
You know, every day it doesn't make it, more and more. It doesn't make sense. You know, these strange theories that somewhere along the line we shifted. Whether, you know, what was the cause of it, I don't know. Some of the ideas I don't even like to think about because it gets you into a paranoid state of mind. The scope of it.
Right. It starts to loosen an already flimsy grasp on reality.
Well, yeah, no, it's just, you know, there was a sense of, well, you know, you see how crazy the world is now. Like even like this Bud Light thing, people are going crazy about it. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where do we actually lose reality? That because if you went back 30 years ago and tried to tell people about the world today, they'd look at you like you were nuts. Like not just the technology part. Even if you tried to describe technology, if I went back to high school and said, "Oh yeah, all you women that are like, you know, anybody here who's thinking that like they're going to go to college and be this, that, and that, like this is what you want to do." If you tried to give them financial advice and all that, they'd be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's like all you girls, like when you become moms and you're done raising your kids, you can just open an OnlyFans page, and they're like, "What the hell's OnlyFans?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, you can just like and go get pedicures and put your feet up, and you'll get money that way too." And they're like, "What?" You know, it's like, and like, "Oh yeah," and by the way, like all you women that think, you know, women's rights and this and that, and I can do anything, you've been told all that bullshit. Guess what? Men are going to beat you in sports, and it's like, what?
Men are going to take over being women. That's how much men are going to oppress you.
Well, no, it's like men are better at being women than women. Like, not just the trannies on porn, but it's like, I thought about this last night. I wrote something that kind of cracked me up. Right, there was two women in the ring, like an octagon thing, UFC, right, and they were good-looking women, like the good-looking ones, not the brutish-looking ones. And I'm thinking, man, everybody's like taking a shot at like making money, no matter what it is. So, like, you know, the question, it's like, when is it okay to hit a woman? And the answer for the longest time was never. And now I'm thinking, when is it okay to hit a woman? Oh, I don't know, 2023, when a guy can identify as a woman and get in the ring and beat the shit out of one? Because people are okay with it now? Like, what the frig?
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah, it's a topsy-turvy world. I mean, and they're trying to confuse, like, you know, the difference between genders. Like, what it even means to be a human being. I mean, that's going to be up for a question. Like, what does it mean to be alive? Like, what do you mean by sentient? Like, you know, so these are like blurring the lines between different identities. You know, like we identify ourselves as individuals and human beings, and God made us in a particular way. Yes, there are exceptions with, you know, hermaphrodites and stuff like this, but like they're very rare. We can't talk about the norm and exceptions. I mean, like about the norm, talking about exceptions. Like exceptions happen, but that doesn't mean it's the norm, right? Does that
Yeah,
make
but it's
sense?
funny. It's funny you mentioned God, because I was thinking about this. Is like, what if, if the CERN, people talk about CERN and Mandela effect and all that. Like, what if somewhere along the way, like there really was left behind kind of scenario, and we don't realize it. Like we're the ones that have been left behind, right? So the world's getting out of whack, even with AI and all this, because the ones that actually did what they were supposed to do already got lifted, and all we're left with here is hell, and we don't even realize we're in hell. Like we've been left behind, right? It's deteriorating slowly. Like I miss the days of the 1950s. Like the world was a globe. It's like dad went to work. There was, he came home, money was made, food on the table, everything was not a perfect world, but I mean, there was some sense of normal, if you want to say normal, right? Society's norms.
Yeah, it's like a Leave It to Beaver type of
Yeah.
world.
Pleasantville or something. And again, I'm being like tongue in cheek. I'm not saying that's an ideal world, but I'm just saying like now it's like, what if we got left behind and this is the state of things and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse? And then you find out you never fucking die. There's no relief from it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree with that. But like the truth is coming out. I mean, like that world was idealized. That kind of like the Pleasantville / Leave It to Beaver, and there was something wholesome about it. Like, why can't we live that kind of life? But even at that time, with like you still had the central banks, you still had like the governments and war industry. There was still deception that was happening at that time. It's just that like now things are a little bit coming out into the forefront of things, especially for people who are waking up. So you want to be like Cypher, and you want to go and back into the Matrix and pretend like you're eating steaks, knowing that it's nothing, and you have to lobotomize yourself. You cannot have the identity that you have now of knowing what you know and remembering what you remember, because you have to get rid of all of that to live another reality. And that's not really what anybody should want. We should be grateful that we have arrived.
Somebody should do a parody on that, where you have Cypher and he's having the dinner meeting and all that, and he's like, and I want to eat steak, and oh, by the way, I want it where women are women. And what do you mean women are women? There's none of these men dressed as women playing sports, and I want, and he starts going down the line like over all the things that are whacked out now. Because even when The Matrix was out in 1999, we didn't have all the craziness we have now.
I'd be real curious what the Wachowskis thought as far as transgenderism in 1999 when they made The Matrix versus, like 3 years ago when they said, oh my God, The Matrix was all about transgenderism.
Well, no, here's the thing, and I was thinking about this. So, and this isn't about gay rights or anything like that. It's like there's always been gay people throughout history, and trans is something else different, this phenomenon right now. And I'm thinking to myself, like, when did it become not only popular? This is more than just a trend, right? It seems like everywhere you turn, like there's more and more. It's like, okay, at one time, yeah, there were people like, even like the guy who played, what's his name, Mike Brady, right? The perfect dad. Everybody loved him as a dad and said, oh, this guy's cool with the Brady Bunch. Come to find out, he's closeted, and that's okay. That's his prerogative, right? Or men all throughout history, the Spartans, whatever. That's homosexuality. This phenomenon is totally different. This totally like throws everything out the window as far as gender roles, right? In the most proper natural perspective. And I'm thinking, is it really something in the fucking water? Is it the BPAs and the and all the other stuff that's really messing with people, or is it the GMO foods, or because we have endocrine blockers and things like that? People looking at blue screens, they say that affects your hormonal levels. Like, what is it that's tripped everybody into like their sexual identity and their understanding of gender is like really
it's probably multiple things.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I mean,
and it's like,
yeah, it's multiple things at once. Like you're being bombarded.
It's a chemical reaction cocktail where until you get all the ingredients at all the exact right proportions, nothing happens. But once you can create that perfect mixture, that concoction becomes volatile and it becomes this whole new substance.
But you know what I'm saying in terms of like, if you identify, right, if you look, all right, so if you're straight and say that's the norm, right, which it is because nature deems it that way, right? So whatever's natural is what nature deems, okay? But whatever's normal is what society accepts as the social mores. But then here's the thing. It's like, How do you say to somebody, it's like, all right, so I have a foot fetish, right? Oh, wow, you like women's feet. Like, that's weird, but not anymore because, like I said, you look on Instagram, look up feet. Every girl's fucking showing her feet, right? That's just a thing. That's a fetish. But I wouldn't fetishize somebody's sexual preference. So then it's like, okay, well, I have a predilection. What's a predilection? Well, I like little kids. Well, no, you're a fucking pedo. Okay, well, you see what I'm saying? Like, what's the difference between one to the next without marginalizing somebody's personal behavior or beliefs? Do you see what I'm saying? And then what's natural in terms of how they're born? Because I've seen little kids, and you could tell it's like, oh yeah, that little kid's gay. You can see he's like effeminate or he has certain affects or certain, and that's okay if that's their natural state of being. What I'm saying is this construct, whatever's going on now in social terms, it almost seems artificial or like it's being put upon us. Like an agenda.
Well, of course, yeah, that's clear. I mean, there is definitely an agenda, and these people themselves are abused, and they probably were transgender themselves, and that might have been going on for a very long time. I don't know 100%, but I suspect that could be the case though too. And there's a lot of kind of like satanic ritual abuse type of stuff. I don't know if I can say that here, but that stuff is a part of this reality.
Wait, Jonathan from Jersey's on the line. There's nothing you can say that's worse than me just being here. I'm the benchmark for low.
Well, earlier in that you were talking about how you were raised and the idea of respect for each other. And I do think, unfortunately, that has been a huge part of what's going on is just this across the board lack of that and lessening of just common decency for each other. No one feels it feels like no one goes to the effort anymore for that. It's just the easiest thing is to be an ass and let's do it. And that's not just, that's more of the raising. I mean, that's simply just the way my family, treated each other and raised each other. And then I saw, I raised my son that way, and I'm hoping that's how he'll raise his children. And I see my cousins and things, their kids seem to have kept it pretty much together. I don't know how it got so spun out. It can't all be, I guess it all could be the fucking TV. I don't know.
We know though that the powers that be have been trying to strip people of identity because
absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Is it really just the fucking mind control working that well? I guess it is.
Well, yeah, because look, they started at one time with fluoridation. If you watch Dr. Strangelove, they put it right in your face, tell you what it is, and still nobody got the joke, right? They think it's just media.
Yeah.
But more than that, the government was always using like different types of chemical warfare and trying to see how they could affect the enemy and make them not want to fight and all this other shit. So like I think they've gone too far, or they're really stripping us down into being automatons. So that will totally take the next pill or the next thing feature benefit thing that they're going to take now, augmentation now, using GPT and all this other shit. When somebody takes thyroid medication or insulin or any of that stuff, like it works, yes, but guess what? It weakens your system to revert back. It turns off that part of your body to actually generate its own, so that you become dependent on those things. Now people are going to be dependent on ChatGPT. Let me ask you a question. Before cell phones, right? How many phone numbers could you remember of people that you knew? Conservatively, most people can remember a minimum of 20. I used to remember like 50 different phone numbers, my aunts, my friends. You see what I'm saying?
Man,
now it's like
I
we
worked
can't
at a
even remember
call
our
center
own
for
fucking phone number.
phones, and I would get calls from people and be like, "Oh, I lost all my numbers and I don't remember anything." And I would think to myself, "What? I didn't have a cell phone at the time,
But that's
like,
that's a simple thing.
I know
That's a simple
everybody's
skill
number
set.
in my head. I got that, and it's gone. All that's gone
Yeah,
because
but
we
computers are
stopped
making
using
us.
it. Yep,
Computers
absolutely.
are making us weaker, and we're becoming dependent, and we don't realize how much it's augmented or changed us.
The other day, I had an appointment change, and the guy called to do that, and I'm trying to remember the original appointment, and I'm like, really? Is my brain that gone? I had to go look on my phone where I'd written it down before and see, and I'm like, that's not even been 2 weeks ago that I put that there, and I can't remember it. Why? Because I know it's on my phone, and I don't have to, so I don't engage that memory. Yeah, it's definitely fucked us over.
Yeah, I don't know why I went on a tear this morning. I guess because I came in late.
That's fine. It was welcome.
But
we already were on a bit of some tears off and on here already, so you just jumped in at the right time. Absolutely.
But again, my condolences to Bob and family and friends and everything for his loss and loss to the community and yeah.
No, thank you much. Yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Like Karen B said earlier, there's going to be a little memorial service for him there right across the road from where they had the Flattoberfest. And then Sunday's Globebusters is probably going to be a pretty powerful one. So for those two reasons alone, we're going to make this evening's Have No Sphere just a quick catch-up, hello, and that's going to be about it. We probably won't stay too long just because everybody's got resting to do and other stuff going on. So,
got you.
But
well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys having me on here. It was good talking to everybody.
It was so
absolutely, man. It's good to catch up with you. Absolutely. You're welcome to pop in anytime you're in the chat, my friend. I mean, your family. You see Jonathan and Andrew are here. Their family. So just make yourself at home. You're in the Skype call now. So all you have to do is go back to that same Ironworx call and click in when you see it live, and we'll be there.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome.
Absolutely, friend. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for you've really gotten my head going to some new places it needed to go to. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was some good stuff you were talking about. You're eloquent and you got a good speaking voice. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you as well, Jonathan. I guess it's 6. We need to get out of there. Let Josh go to work.
Yeah, I do have to actually get ready. I didn't do anything last night, which means I've got to do it all this morning, and I've not done any of it yet.
And I didn't show you guys any new kitten pictures. Okay, that'll be on the agenda for this afternoon's show. New kitten pictures and videos because they're so cutie.
And Andrew, sorry we didn't get to your space lettuce.
Oh, that's true. We'll do some space lettuce for a minute this afternoon now.
Yeah, hang on to it. We've got a pile ourselves we've been collecting. We didn't get to any of those
no problem.
either.
I'll drop it in the Skype chat if you guys want to just check it out. It's pretty funny.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool deal. Thank you, sir.
Great. And the rest of you, thanks for hanging out this morning.
Yes, thank you all.
It's always a good time. Zach, we missed you, brother. Hopefully we will see you, if not this afternoon, then...
Yeah, big hugs all around to the family.
Yeah, we'll be tuned in on Sunday for sure. And who knows who's going to be going live on Saturday at the memorial. So maybe keep an eye out on your favorite Flat Earth channels. Make sure you're subscribed to them all with the little bell notification turned on in case they do go live. And do the same thing to the Iron Realm Media channel because we will be back here next week, Tuesdays and Friday mornings, 4 a.m. Central to 6 a.m. Central. We love you guys. Be good, be well.